Hello guys, Nato Ace here, and I hope you guys did enjoy episode 219 and 220, which are SNK versus Capcom SvC Chaos and Capcom versus SNK Millennium Fight 2000 respectively. So in this video, I'm gonna do a two-parter of my impression of both games. And the reason is, like I said before, is that this is one of my favorite fighting game series, the Versus. I always love crossover, so this one actually makes sense that SNK Capcom because of their fighting game history. So for this one, part one will be my impression of SNK versus Capcom Chaos. Just let's just say I finally did have a chance to play it unofficially. Let's just say for the game, but at least I experienced what the hubbub about this game. I did play this in arcade, like actual arcade in the past, but of course, usually those arcade they put in a very high difficulty, and let's just say I'm not really that geeked, but it is what it is. So finally understand the game, what's all the mechanics, history behind it, what's it good or bad. But the opposite is Capcom vs SNK Millennium Fight 2000. Actually, like I said, I played in the PlayStation 1 version, and then of course now again unofficially, but I mean, if it plays the same as the original, I mean, it is what it is there. So with that, first I'm gonna give my impression of SNK vs Capcom SvC Chaos. I finally played the game. First of all, it is a fighting game. Does it play like King Fighter? To some extent, yes. So it is a 4-button grab with punches or 2 kicks. So that's what it is. I mean, I like that one rather than just forward and just one button. They should have like a throw button or a combination. I like that. Street Fighter 5 kind of did it with the lights. It makes sense. I like it. I mean, you could just always macro it in the long run. But again, it feels like an SNK game. So the mechanics is, instead of a King of Fighter rule, it is just 1-on-1, which is kind of weird for an SNK game. But I think the whole point is they're doing some sort of reverse architect, because in the Capcom side with Capcom vs SNK, it's a team-based game, which Ono loves that. Wow, because Street Fighter knows to be 1-on-1, so I think that's what they did with SNK vs Capcom. Kind of makes sense to some extent there. So of course, the Capcom characters play like Street Fighter. A little bit of tricky because there's 6 buttons, changing to 4 buttons. I mean, Capcom vs SNK did the same thing, so I think they probably followed an architect. Maybe they were developing at the same time. To some extent, I'm going to give an example like Wii U. They're almost closely identical in the moves and the moveset and the mechanics of it. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, in order to do a sweep, you're going to have to do fierce kick, but they're not going to forward down. So, the same goes with the Capcom side. So, I can understand why there. So, again, like I said, Capcom characters in an SNK environment, yeah, it works well. Super move, they do have multiple super move, like, oh, this is before the one super move or the critical art. But they also introduced, they call it the Exceed mode, which is technically that when you reach your bar to like the maximum, first of all, you'll flash red, and then you'll have infinite super, which is again good, and that reminds you of the EX. Or when your health bar in King Fighter 94 and 95, it's all glowy, and then you can do unlimited super move. So it's gonna do that for a limited time. However, you can also do like a super move. In each character have one. Like in the case with Ryu is Shoryuken. In the case with Ken is Shinyuken. Kyo, I think it's the Russian punch, flame uppercut. I don't know what it's called. SNK names is kind of weird. Yori, I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's like the freeze purple flame. So again, but in order to execute that, you got 2 things you have to make correctly. One, you gotta max out your super meter until it says maximum. At the same time, your health bar has to be 1/2. Yeah, so the weird part about this game is that each character have 2 health bars. It's a yellow one and it becomes red. Once it becomes red, then you can finally do an Exceed move. Unfortunately also, you can only do it once per round. So again, I can see why it's like comeback mechanic to some extent, if I say, but you gotta still connect it if it's good. But they're super strong. So that's what the mechanic is. So now, the graphic, the visual. Yeah, it looks like a King of Fighter game. Very 2D-ish. This is before using 3D engines such as the Tarnished Wave, heck, the Taito Type 2. It was very 2D. Again, they were using the NDS. This game was developed before they got bankrupt. That's what it is. It was some last chance, hopefully, to turn it around. But of course, spoiler, it did not. So the backgrounds were not really engaging. So it was just like generic factory, generic train station, some weird space station, space chamber, and then the only like each character an exclusive one is the bosses, which is Shin Akuma and Serious Mr. Karate. They're in some sort of abandoned dojo, which is you can see that in Street Fighter 5. On the stages that comes from Akuma, some abandoned temple, and then the secret bosses have their own stage. One is, of course, the Celestial World for Athena, and for Red Amor or Firebrand. His stage is, of course, the Nether Realm. So, I mean, it is what it is there. So, the environment, not really inspiring. It's like very generic. I mean, it is what it is. It's a crossover. Music, definitely is not there, which is kind of suck. But, I mean, the rule of cut and pay type of game, in my opinion, should be just have an all-star music. I mean, look at Super Smash Bros. They got music for different games. They just shoved it on Smash Brothers. Look at SNK, 50 games. Music from King of Fighter 2002 Unlimited Match, King of Fighter 14, heck, even MVS games from Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting. I mean, they got a whole mess. Heck, even pre-Neo Geo games from Athena, Ikari Warrior. And then there you go. And then maybe one or two you do a remix. But the songs, the music, it was just like, man. So that wasn't even good either. And of course, the biggest problem with this game is the criteria in order to get the true ending. So this game, believe it or not, has multiple branches, at least two, but it is kind of annoying, especially in 2020. Nobody likes that. It was smart for Ono what he did in Street Fighter 5 in the arcade mode. So you have a Street Fighter 1 route, Street Fighter 2 route, Alpha route, Street Fighter 4 route, etc., etc., etc. Hopefully, in the long run, people should do that instead of this weird criteria, because it is not fun in my opinion. Like playing arcade mode to some extent, like, oh, I want to fight certain opponent. No, it's not fun. There is also multiple bosses and multiple sub-bosses, mid-bosses. And I did mention already on my games there, but I'll give my impression about the roster, which is interesting to some extent. Like, you gotta do criteria if you want to fight certain one. And the bad side about this game is, if you want to see the true ending, because the good thing about this game, it actually has character ending. It's not just word like in the other version. It actually has an actual visual ending. But in order to get that, the criteria is a pain in the butt. And the sad part of this game is, even if you put it on the lowest difficulty, because it's a Neo Geo game, it's still hard. Game's unbalanced, it's so hard, and people are driving you nuts. I mean, I'll give an example. When Mouse every time played this game, he only gets the generic thing rather than the real ending, because he never has a chance to fight either Athena or Red Amor, because it's ridiculous to how to critique. One is don't lose a round. You gotta do exit move at least how many times? I don't know how many times. It's just crazy. I mean, time of age of in 2020, it's really no. I'm sorry. So I mean, probably was cool in the past, but now this game, yeah, I can't really say much about it.
Also, I just want to add one of the problem also with SNK versus Capcom is the time limit. For a strange reason, it's on 60 seconds. And on the console version, you can't even change that to 99. It's either 60 seconds or infinite. So that doesn't make sense. I mean, at least in the Capcom versus SNK game, you get 999 seconds. I mean, granted it's a team base, but it's just kind of weird, like 60 seconds. Why? I mean, it ends up of a timeout because just you got a long health bar, but you got a short time. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's also one of the problem with this game.
So, two, at least Now we're gonna move to the console version, the PlayStation 2 Xbox version. They did improve the game, so they did actually improve the game. One is they're smoothing the graphic. You can see on my PlayStation 2 version. Mind you, that's the palette. So, but anyway, yeah, if the graphic is smooth, the super move, the special move, the model actually now smooth. They look at least a bit better than the arcade version, so I like that. Game mechanics still the same. It's still hard. If you put in the level 1 difficulty, we added new mode in the game. You have a gallery mode and survival mode. And the best part here, and this is another complaint in the arcade version, is the hidden characters are unlockable from the get-go, except for Athena and Redamore. Most of them you have to either beat them in the arcade mode, or you gotta beat them in survival mode. And like I said, if you put in the lowest difficulty, whether it's an arcade or the console version, it's really hard. I can't even do it. By the time in survival mode I reached like 5th and 6th guy, I got my ass kicked. That's how hard the game is. I mean, it's fun, sure, but it's very frustrating. So my conclusion about this game, and unfortunately also, just make a note, I won't be able to give an official score due to the fact that I'm not really playing this officially. So if, like I said, for whatever reason, Capcom or SNK Media suddenly said, sure, we can release these classic games and, you know, update them for modern console, whether PS4, PS5, Series X, Series S, whatever, Steam, Epic Game Store, and they re-release either Capcom vs SNK or SNK vs Capcom, then I'll give a score. But as of right now, since I did play this game, quote unquote, unofficially, to some extent, I cannot give a legit score because it wouldn't be right. And of course, these games are old. Games not that super fun. It's fun for what it is, but if you're ever gonna say, "Oh, let's play this for esports," yeah, that's not gonna happen. So, yeah, so I can't give a score about it, but I can give you my overall thought whether you should invest your time trying to play this game or not, whether you're a fan or not. So overall, it's a game fun. To some extent, yes, it is a bit fun. Would you be spending a lot of time for this game? Not really much to some extent, especially the console version. Not much. I mean, the only thing unlockable, like I said, is trying to get the 2 secret boss character. It's the gallery mode, and the gallery mode is it's just a character portrait. In order to get them, spoiler, beat them in survival mode, and that's really it. The difficulty, whether arcade version or home console version, even in level 1, it's not working. Graphics on the console version, it is good, but doesn't really justify, like I said at the time, $50. So I mean, like I said, if they ever re-release this for whatever reason, and hope to Neptunia goddesses that they fixed a lot of the problem with this game, which I doubt it because they have to deal with Capcom again, and they don't want to. And spoiler, Capcom don't want to make any crossover deal with SNK. So right now, I don't know yet. The last time I heard, they didn't want to do anything with the new Capcom vs SNK deal. It was a one-off at one point, but you never know. You never know. You know, SNK characters, they're making guest appearances in other games, so we just have to wait and see. So, yeah, in conclusion, if you have a chance to play it in any from right now, the only official way to play it inside the arcade is the Xbox. The problem is, it's not backwards compatible with the 360. So, yeah, it's not back compatible. There was one point I went to a bargain bin store, they had it there. I was considering getting it, but like I said, it wasn't backwards compatible with the 360, which is sad. It might be backwards compatible with the Series X, so that'll be probably a different story there. But again, who knows about it? So that's the only official right now. And so most people either, like I said, they do it on unofficially. Let's just go with that one. And you know what I mean when I say unofficially. But for what it is, you're not going to spend a lot of time for this game. You're just like, hey, no, that's it. I mean, I'm done. There you go. So that is my impression. So to some extent, I would just say not highly recommended to play this game. There are better games in your time to be playing a fighting game, especially Capcom side. So those are my thoughts about SNK vs Capcom Chaos, as well my impression. Yes, I do apologize for the score. However, like I said, unless I played in an official version, I really cannot give like a true score, but it's kind of like cheating there. But for the game, for what it is, again, it's okay for what it is, but you're not going to be spending a lot of time for this game. So yeah, so with that, next time I'm going to give my thoughts on Capcom versus SNK Millennium Fight 2002, my impression. So stay tuned.